Welcome to This Week This Morning, the weekly video that gets you up to speed on the week's most important developments for your business and your taxes. Well, the stimulus negotiations may finally be rising from the dead. A bipartisan proposal by moderates of their respective parties has created a $908 billion stimulus package that's gaining momentum as an appropriate starting point to resume negotiations. The proposal allocates $288 billion to another round of small business aid. $180 billion for additional unemployment insurance, $160 billion for state and local governments, $82 billion for education, $45 billion for transportation, $35 billion for healthcare, and the remainder going to a number of different sectors, including housing and agriculture. So when it comes to small businesses, the proposal calls for another round of funding for the Paycheck Protection Program. Unlike last time, however, you're not going to be able to qualify based on subjective uncertainty, but rather you're going to have to be able to demonstrably show substantially reduced revenue due to the pandemic. The proposal also calls for another round of funding to the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, otherwise known as EIDL. But again, you're not going to be able to qualify based on a subjective sense of uncertainty. Another positive for businesses is that the proposal includes increased liability protection for COVID-related lawsuits, including a temporary suspension of all COVID-related lawsuits to give states enough time to enact their own protections. And when it comes to unemployment insurance, the proposal calls for an additional $300 a week for 18 weeks, which would be retroactive back to December 1st. Those who are unemployed may also be happy to hear that there is $25 billion being allocated to rental assistance in order to avoid a crisis of homelessness. And last, for those of you who are hoping for another stimulus check, hate to break it to you, but this proposal does not include any stimulus checks. Not to say that this proposal is anything close to law, but it's unlikely to be added in because the price tag for the proposed bill will ultimately need to be reduced substantially from where it currently sits to get enough Republican support to create an actual stimulus bill. Adding stimulus checks would increase the cost of the bill to an amount that would be untenable for most Republicans. So, yes, this is just a proposal and things could substantially change, but at least Congress is talking again, and there is now a bipartisan framework that can be used to reach an agreement. What still remains unknown is whether Republicans or Democrats will control the Senate after the Georgia runoff elections in January. If the Democrats win both seats, then expect to see stimulus spending beyond what's in this proposal, potentially as an additional bill after some version of this proposal becomes a bill itself. After all, Biden has been calling this proposal a down payment on a real relief bill. Well, that's all for now. See you guys next week.